This is the Fantasy Football 411 podcast. The best place to get the latest 411 on your fantasy football team. Here are your hosts, Alex and Amanda.
Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Football 411 podcast. I am your host, Alex.
And I'm Amanda.
And this is the best place to get the latest 411 for your fantasy football team. And that's exactly what we're going to give you in this episode. How did your teams play this week?
So-so.
So-so. AKA.
I had AJ Brown in both leagues, so that was not great. I think I won in one league and lost in the other. So
yeah, which might happen to me too. So it was a tricky week. There were some big things that happened, of course, as you may know of, some injuries that happened that we'll get into. So let's get right into the latest 411. We do have some injuries worth noting. Wide receiver KJ Hamler on the Denver Broncos tore his ACL. There were also a few rib injuries as well. Tight end Rob Gronkowski had a rib injury, but he came back in to finish the game. Wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster also had a rib injury, but he was out of the game. I don't believe he came back.
both Slayton and Shepard on the Giants went down with hamstring injuries. AJ Brown also had a hamstring injury. That is too worth keeping a track of.
And then running back James White was carted off the field with a serious hip injury. Hurt me on my bench a bit. Luckily, I didn't play him. Hope he gets better, though. That's horrible. Some fun stats this week.
Tom Brady, 41 for 55 for 432 yards and 1 touchdown. And he had 3 sacks.
Running back Alexander Madison came in and saved my week. Filled in great for Dalvin Cook. He carried for 26 times, 112 yards, and he averaged 4.3 yards per carry.
Running back James Conner carried 11 times for 43 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns.
Which was crazy. I just dropped him for Madison, I believe. So it's kind of, I don't know, I guess it was an okay drop, but James Conner is probably going to be a big waiver target this week for some people. Running back James Robinson is finally getting the recognition he deserves. 15 carries for 48 yards and had a touchdown. He averaged 5.9 yards per carry. He's finally back.
And DK Metcalf, he was 6 for 107 yards and 1 touchdown.
And that's pretty much it for this past week. I mean, it was definitely a decent week if you had players like Josh Allen who ended up getting like 45 points. You know, Brady's line was nuts too.
Justin Herbert did well.
Oh, Herbert, that's right. Yeah, because Mahomes didn't have a good game. But yeah, so it was just kind of a freak thing. You know, speaking of freak, like a lot of people are freaking out about Tyreek the Freak. He only got 10 points. I mean, he's going to have those weeks. He can't put up 30 points every week. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Be on the lookout for Tyreek Hill on your waiver wire.
Yeah, right.
No, I wouldn't advise that if you're a Tyreek owner. So that being said, let's move right into the hot and cold segment. All right, once again, I put these ones in here, and we don't have a lot, but there are some few pickups that we recommend and aren't as excited as other people to pick them up, or at least I'm not. Curious to hear Amanda's opinion here, but I'll start off with the only one that I put in the cold segment.
Aww.
He's alone there. Is wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders. He went 5 for 6 for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. I know that there are some analysts out there saying to pick him up because he's going to be the wide receiver 2 now. I just think there's too many mouths to feed, and we haven't seen too much consistency out of him yet. I mean, I guess the last week he had some production as well, but I really have to see if it's there, you know, and I feel like this all goes to show, like, look at the few players I mentioned last week. Christian Kirk, you know, he had a good week too, but it's such a busy team that I'm not saying don't pick them up on waivers. I'm just saying don't dump your bank. Like, they're definitely worth a pickup. That's like this whole cold thing. Don't think we're saying they're cold, don't pick them up. I'm saying pay for the hot players that we mentioned more than them. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I would say he's cold. I mean, if you have a spot on your bench, yeah, I mean, I guess he's worth picking up, but no, I wouldn't spend a ton on him.
Okay. So we're in agreement. I thought you were going to disagree on that. Who's hot? Could have done a better one, but tight end Tyler Conklin went 7 for 8 for 70 yards and a touchdown. I think I mentioned him in a previous week. If I didn't on the podcast, I was thinking about it, but I wouldn't have dropped anybody for him now. Before now. Now I will. Now that's like showing volume. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kirk Cousins had a great week as well. The Vikings in general did, but 7 for 8 for 70 yards. That's pretty good efficiency. You know, and a touchdown on top of it. I think he had like 20 points even in a PPR league. I would say he's hot on my list for a pickup. What about you?
Yeah, I think people have been hyping him up for a second now, so I'm not surprised that.
And I don't think they're doing anything with Herndon. Like, I haven't heard anything about Herndon since he went there. So maybe he's a blocking tight end. Tyler Conklin's going to be the new Rudolph. I guess we'll find out.
A tight end, Mike Gesicki, 10 for 12 for 86 yards.
Would you agree with that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gesicki has been pretty good. So with the way tight ends are, I think he's a fine pickup.
The other thing that's factored into this equation now is Jacoby Brissett is the QB for the time being. And I think each quarterback has their own kind of scheme that they're going to play, you know, and I feel like that favored Gesicki a lot having Brissett in there this past week. And so I think at least you can get a few weeks out of Gesicki with Brissett playing. So I would pick him up on waivers. And I mean, I think Conklin has more long-term value, but if you need a quick tight end and Conklin's off the board, then Gesicki's a good one. And the last hot one that I wrote here, which is obvious this week, is the biggest waiver pickup, I believe, if he's not already picked up. I wish I was one of those teams that just picked up handcuffs before the week happened. I just am afraid to drop people last minute. But running back Chuba Hubbard is the biggest waiver pickup this week. He is the backup for Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, there's not much to say besides that. I mean, he's not a Christian McCaffrey. Just because he's a handcuff for Christian McCaffrey, he's not going to be Christian McCaffrey in there. But that's a good volume play, and he's a great running back. Budget-wise, Tyler Conklin, I'd put 10 to 15% since he's a tight end. Gesicki, I'd say up to 10%. Chuba Hubbard, I'd probably go at least 30%. Especially because he's going to be at least a few weeks. And if I do get him for like 30 to 40%, I might have him season long just to hold on to him to make it worthwhile, especially if McCaffrey unfortunately goes down again for any reason. But yeah, that's my take on that. What do you think of Hubbard?
Did we say that Christian McCaffrey got injured?
Oh, yeah. So that was like a big one. Good point. So Christian McCaffrey did go out with a hamstring injury. He's going to be out for a few weeks, I heard. They're not putting him on the IR, so that's a good thing. But he will be out for a few weeks. That leaves that backfield open. Good pickup.
I think a lot of people will be going for Chuba Hubbard, or I like to call him Chupacabra.
Oh, Chupacabra. That's right. Chupacabra. We need to trademark that. Chupacabra.
So, yeah, if you need running back help, if you were someone who was heavy wide receiver and now you got some stud running backs, I mean, I would put your money on him. At least get you through the next couple weeks.
How much money are you going to put in on Chuba Hubbard?
You know, he's coming after me because I asked him a question, and now he knows that I put a waiver claim on him, and well, like everyone else. But I did mention that I am not going to be putting as much as everybody else.
Just to reenact what happened, she called me last week and she said,
mind you, this is the first time I've done a fantasy league where there was fab.
Right.
So I'm not used to it.
But it's still funny. So she called me last week and she asked, if I can't pick up a player, does that mean he's already played? Or does that, and then I don't remember what the rest of the question, but that was it. And right away, I'm like, okay, this was after Thursday. So I'm like,
no, I knew he played. I didn't know
No, but you didn't know if you could pick him up because
because he played, not if he played.
Right. So I said, I said, well, you're obviously going for Chuba Hubbard there. And she like acted to try to sneak
I could
out
be
of
going for Royce Freeman.
You were trying to like sneak out of. You're like, yes. Well, it was obvious. I told her I can't give her any advice there besides telling her, yeah, that's why she didn't get him. But I just thought that was funny. And I said right there, what if I wasn't going for Chuba Hubbard? She just told me she was. So now I'm definitely going for Chuba Hubbard.
Oh, please.
I was going for him anyways, but either way, that would have been funny. If it was anybody else, it would have been funnier because obviously everybody's going for Chuba Hubbard. Moving on to the week 4 matchups. Keep in mind the injuries and the waiver pickups that we mentioned in this episode are pre-Cowboys and Eagles game. That's on tonight. We're recording this on Monday night. So don't get alarmed if, Tony Pollard ends up getting, I don't know, Tony Pollard's already picked up, but another player, Kenneth Gainwell or something, ends up being huge. We already recommended him anyways, so you should have him already. But that's why you're not going to hear those names on this episode, because this is pre-Cowboys-Eagles game. As for the week 4 matchups, this is what we're looking at.
So Thursday night, we have the Jaguars against the Bengals.
Bengals have been surprising people lately with their talent. I mean, Jamar Chase is probably going to go down as like a top-end dynasty.
I think he had like 30 points.
Yeah, he's going to go in. I think this year he might even be the top dynasty wide receiver for dynasty leagues. But weekly pickup, I wish I kind of picked him up in the draft, but didn't happen. Either way, I think they take that one against Jacksonville. Don't get me wrong. It's impressive. I mean, it's not that impressive, but I guess it's reassuring that Urban Meyer is playing James Robinson the way he should, and they are looking a little bit better. But Trevor Lawrence is still throwing interceptions. He's still not looking too far from the other rookies that are making mistakes right now. So I think Bengals take it, and that's my take. What about you?
Yeah, the Bengals will probably take it. I mean, you have who on the Jags? Is it just DJ Shark and Marvin Jones at this point?
James Robinson.
True.
Lavishka.
I know, but Lavishka hasn't done anything. It makes me so sad.
Oh, Lavishka.
Because I want to play him, and he's just not active enough.
Oh, Lavishka. So the next one on the slot is starting off at 1 o'clock on Sunday. It's the Titans with the Jets.
This would be a game that I would want to see like live, but not the Patriots. I would have much rather have seen the Titans, but it's fine.
Well, if they played better, we would have liked to see the Patriots.
No, I don't care for anybody on the Patriots to see.
Oh yeah, you do have Derrick Henry and AJ Brown. Yeah, that's true.
Tannehill. I would like to see all those people play, but nonetheless, I mean the Jets will lose. It's not looking good for them.
Well, I didn't tell you this, but somebody did offer tickets to go, but I would have had to buy them. And after we had to go through the pain that we did in the Patriots game, I didn't buy them. Yeah, that one, I don't know if I would want to be there unless, I don't think the Jets can get any worse than they've been playing. So, it's just you either keep the trend going that you're doing or you have to get better at some point. Is this the game that it happens? I hope so. But we don't know. I'm not going to play any Jets. We're past waivers and all that. But obviously, if you're trying to stash anybody on the Jets at this point, it's Michael Carter, the running back, because he's been showing some promise. But otherwise, matchup-wise, play all your Titans. Play even Titans defense, because I played Broncos defense this past week against the Jets, and it worked wonders for me. So I recommend doing that.
Then we have the Chiefs and the Eagles.
That's going to be a shootout. I hope Mahomes plays a lot better this week than he did last week. I think even if he played the way he did last week in week 4, then the Eagles will still lose. But I just think it wasn't, Super Bowl Mahomes that we saw in that game. And I feel like he's got to step it up. I feel like the rest of the team does too, like Tyreek, But yeah, that's going to be a good one. I'm curious to see what the Eagles even do tonight against the Cowboys. I feel like if that's a shootout, then that Kansas City one should be good. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good game. I'm excited for that one.
And I take the Kansas City Chiefs on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Carolina Panthers take on the Dallas Cowboys.
Should be good too. We got a lot of good games next week. I probably would not play Sam Darnold. DJ Moore has been on his shiz lately.
Yeah, this past week he had a great week.
He's been pretty good this season. So, who else do they have?
Robbie Anderson.
Oh yeah,
Terrace
another
Marshall.
one I forget that I also have, and he's done nothing.
Yeah, I feel like once he does have a good game though, he's good trade bait. Like right now, I'm thinking of trading Chase Claypool just because I'm so upset with Roethlisberger's playing that like I'm probably gonna offer Claypool up to somebody who wants him because I just like right now it looks good. Maybe even the next game will be good or whatever. But I'm thinking down the line, the rest of the season. I want to get a wide receiver that I can have on my bench that I don't have to worry about. This week I didn't play Claypool because I would have had to play him over Madison.
Why are we talking about Claypool right now?
Good thing I didn't. But I'm just that's a very good point.
Confused. I was talking about the Panthers. I actually have a thought to say, and you keep rambling about Claypool. Can you hold your Steelers thought while I can finish? While I finish?
Maybe somebody that has or that wants Claypool will have DJ Moore, and I'll be able to get DJ Moore.
That's where this was going?
Yeah, you just didn't let me finish.
Oh, my gosh. Well,
okay, keep going.
I was going to say, I'm hoping that these teams going against the Panthers will catch on that DJ Moore is clearly the sole target for Sam Darnold and will start blocking DJ Moore better, and then those targets can go to Robbie Anderson.
It's a good take.
And play your Cowboys.
I would say the Cowboys, you're going to play them all, like she said. I would, the Panthers, I'd probably play them all too. Cowboys defense is great this season. I shouldn't say great. They're good. They're better. I would say play both sides. I have the Cowboys in that one winning, but I have too much hope on the Cowboys this season for some reason. So that could be part of it.
We got the Giants and the Saints.
Oh yeah. Saints will probably take that one. Giants are Giants. I feel like they got to do something with their front office.
All their people are hurt. Well,
yeah, but that, and I mean, personnel wise, I mean, their front office has made a lot of mistakes too. They'd be in a lot better shape if they,
we're Jets fans aren't really ones to talk.
Yeah, but I'm coming from an unbiased standpoint. So now with Slayton out and Shepard out, if they're not playing in week 4, that's going to hurt them immensely. Who knows what's going on with Barkley? I mean, he came back in the game, so I don't know if that's going to be anything, but they need to step it up. Clearly, the Giants aren't better than the Patriots, and the Saints just smoked the Patriots, so I would say the Saints easily. Play all your Saints that are fantasy relevant, and Giants, I would play Saquon if he's playing, I guess, but I wouldn't play him any higher than an RB3 or a flex. Same?
Yep.
Okay. The Browns are playing the Vikings, and that's a good one. I think that's a good matchup. I think both sides, defense-wise and offense-wise, they're pretty competitive. Mm-hmm. I think the Vikings, if they keep the momentum they have going from week 3, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be both sides, especially if Beckham plays. It'll be a good game. I take the Browns to win that one.
Yeah. Lions and the Bears. Probably Bears. Well, Lions might win this one.
I think if the Lions pressure Justin Fields on the line, the Bears' offensive line has been atrocious, and Justin Fields has been, suffering because of it. I think if he had an awesome offensive line, you would see how great of a quarterback he is this soon, but it's just not helping him at all. It's not doing him any favors. So I think if the Lions pressure on the line, they could get it defensively and win this game. I'm going to take them, and I'm going to play all my Lions and pretty much all the Bears. I think, both defenses aren't anything fantastic, but I just think that's how the Lions could win this one.
No, I was trying to think because you said I would play all my Lions, and I'm like, how Lions? So we have Hawkinson, Swift.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
when I say all my Lions, I mean the 2 Lions that matter.
Yeah,
Swift and Hawkinson.
Maybe Williams.
Yeah, if he plays. Otherwise, Quintez Cephas is kind of a flyer.
Yeah, I picked him up.
I would play Goff if you need a QB or you have him. I'd play Goff. I mean, I wouldn't play him over a lot of other QBs. He's probably, if I had to rank him, he's probably in my 20s. Yeah, those are the only 3 assets on the line, so I wouldn't say play all my Lions.
So we have the Texans and the Bills.
The Bills are easily going to take that one, in my opinion. I'd play all your Bills. I'd play Brandon Cooks. And Anthony Miller, I guess. I don't know, though, because I feel like this week Anthony Miller did all right, but I just feel like that was such a fluke thing. I don't think that's going to be consistent each week. Cooks is the only one I would play on the Houston Texans, and I would play all Bills, and I'd take the Bills in that one.
Sounds good.
The Colts and the Dolphins face off Sunday. Keep in mind, all these are the 1:00 games. That one is good. I think Miami could win that one, and I would play both sides. I wouldn't really, just keep in mind Miami's defense, the corners, they're tough. I would, don't expect great things out of Michael Pittman and Paris Campbell or Pascal, but if you absolutely have to have a flex, if you're in a 12-team league, I think they're good flexes. But Jonathan Taylor, obviously, play him.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd play anybody from the Dolphins because the Colts defense is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I'd play Waddle. I'd play Gaskin and Gesicki. That's probably it. I mean, yeah, and their defense. I'd play their defense, too. I played Miami's defense. I like Colts defense, too. You can play both defenses. Washington takes on Atlanta to close off the 1:00 games. Washington's defense hasn't been what people expected. For some reason, Chase Young is just not there. But Atlanta is also a pretty weak team at this point. Calvin Ridley hasn't been doing much. Cordell Patterson and Mike Davis did split carries this past week, which is pretty impressive for Cordell Patterson owners that picked him up after, I recommended it last week, right? I think Washington's defense could step it up against Atlanta in this game. I would still play every Falcon, but I would just keep in mind that Washington's defense was shut down last season and it hasn't changed too much, that it could, this is a game where you could start seeing Washington's defense prevail once again. And on Washington's offense, I'd play them all. Even their bench warmers, play them all because it's Falcons defense versus, I would play Antonio Gibson, obviously, Terry. Mm-hmm. I would play them all. Heineke, I mean, you don't really need him. He's a, super flex, maybe QB2, but in normal standard leagues, nope.
Starting at the 405 games, Seahawks and the 49ers.
That's a good shootout, potentially. I mean, Seahawks haven't been showing up too much lately. I mean, DK had a great game. Tyler Lockett's injured too, isn't he?
I don't know.
I didn't see anything, but I thought I saw him go down. He must have came back or something. If we missed that one, don't blame us. Didn't come up. But I think the Seahawks have a good shot at winning this one. I think it's a good comeback game for them. I mean, San Fran's defense isn't the same for some reason. Must be their defensive coordinator leaving, moving to another team, and trying to run an offense. But I think Seahawks take this one. I'd play both sides. Don't really. I mean, keep in mind the running back room in San Francisco isn't the greatest. I have Trey Sermon on my bench, got me like 10, 11 points. Not going to really throw him out there and be confident, but I guess if you can be confident against any team, it would be one of them would be the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, 49ers, I don't know.
I hope Kittle has the same type of week that he had this past week, because I was worried when he got me 5 points, and now I got 17 this past week. So play them all. Let's see what happens. Hopefully Ayuk steps up.
Cardinals and the Rams. The Rams will probably take that one.
I feel like that's like a trick one. I feel like that could go the opposite way too. They're both undefeated, aren't they?
Yes.
I'm going to take the Cardinals in that one. And I'm really doing it just because of the weaponry they have. Kyler's more mobile than Matthew Stafford. The defense is much better this season. Don't get me wrong, LA's defense is insane, and it's a home game for LA. Damn, that's too interesting. Yeah, but I'm going to take the Cardinals just to make it fun since you took the Rams.
Okay.
Obviously, play both sides. I don't know if it's going to be a high-score game. It's one of those ones where they're both competitive teams, so it could be a high-scoring game, but it would make sense if it wasn't too, because the defenses are good. Then you have Pittsburgh at Green Bay. Like I said, I'm not that excited about Big Ben this season or anybody there, especially with the injuries that are going on. Juju's out for whoever knows, and Deontay Johnson didn't play this past week. So you got Freiermuth, Chase Claypool, Najee Harris. That's your three right there. You're not going to play Big Ben. Green Bay's defense actually has been shown up here and there. So I'm taking Green Bay in this one, especially if the defense on the Steelers side is still a little bit injured and fragile for this one. And it's in Green Bay. Taking Green Bay, play all Packers, and you have to play your Steelers, but just know that they're not as healthy as they once were.
We have the Ravens and the Broncos. Okay. I didn't know that the Broncos are 3-0. They've won all their games. Good for them.
Right. Well, and their defense is clutch too. Like, I mean, their cornerback room, like I said in preseason, has the potential to be one of the top ones in the league. I think they're really showing up now. I mean, it doesn't help that they played the Jets last week, but this is a good one. I think Baltimore takes it though. I think Denver's going to put up a fight, obviously, but I think Baltimore has more offensive talent. To close off the Sunday games, Sunday night, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady returns to New England to play the Patriots. That's going to be one to look forward to.
They put that at nighttime for a reason. Yeah. Like everyone's going to want to watch this game.
It'll be even better if Tampa Bay smokes the Patriots, as they should, because the Patriots aren't the team that they once were. Tampa Bay is a beast. I wouldn't play any Patriots. James White's injured now. I mean, he would have been the only one. He would have been the only one I would have said.
I don't really like anyone on the Patriots, so.
So, Tampa Bay, play them all. Just know that I would check injury status of Patriots defensive players. I don't know what's going on with, I don't think it could happen this weekend anyways because he's on the pup, but Stephon Gilmore is going to come back at some point. Keep that in mind. That defense is definitely going to shift in the right direction once he comes back. But I think Tampa Bay easily takes this one. I think it'll be funny to watch.
Monday night, we got Raiders and the Chargers.
That's a good one. I think play both sides. That's going to be a good matchup.
Justin Herbert. Do you notice that he has his long hair? It's because of me, because I asked him to have his long hair. He
definitely listened. He definitely listened to this podcast to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So Vegas is actually showing up this season. You figure Gruden hasn't even really drafted the best players. If you look at past drafts or whatever, he hasn't really, the best players in each round, he's kind of just letting slide by, and he picks somebody that's like, oh, okay, decent, whatever. Raiders, he's taken whatever talent he did get, and he's showing up. Like, they're actually playing great football and winning games. It's pretty insane. So showing up against the Chargers, who just beat Kansas City, that's going to be a fun game to watch. Now, I take the Chargers in it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders give them a fight. Play both sides. I'm looking forward to that one.
Do you still like your Derek Carr for this matchup?
Yeah, because I think it's going to be a shootout, if anything. I don't think Chargers are going to shut them down. I think it'll be a shootout. I'd play Derek Carr. I'd play Herbert. Honestly, both sides. The running backs in Las Vegas, I've never really been a fan of. So, do what you want with that. But I don't own any. If I did, I'd probably play him just because, I think the matchup's going to go that way. I'd be more excited about Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Jared Cook. So that's the week 4 matchups. If we missed anything, hit us up at FanFootball411 on Twitter and hit us up wherever you find us on the socials. Otherwise, you can watch this podcast on YouTube. We are going to do our best to get the videos to you by waivers, but it doesn't always happen. Be patient with us. But no matter what, you'll hear this podcast, the audio version, on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube every Tuesday, as much as we can deliver that at some point on Tuesday. It'll be there. So thanks for tuning in. Good luck in week 4.
Grab those men off the waiver.